Hi, I'm Sophia Louisa Lee. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of So Zoom In. Please hit like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. I love bringing you people who are in the creative flow. Well, thank you so much for joining me. What a pleasure to see you. I mean, when you were in the Elizabeth Taylor biopic, you were playing Montgomery Cliff, and what a phenomenal performance. Bravo.
Oh, thank you. I was just talking about the Liz. I did a acting seminar yesterday in
Oh,
Santa Monica, all day one, not like the one I did at the film festival. And I was talking a lot about that because I was talking about Montgomery Clift, what made him so special to the students. I was explaining it to them. So I played him in that Liz Taylor miniseries, which was a real treat.
you're a wonderful actor. You've been doing it for a very long time. I have to ask though, your father was a race car driver.
Yes.
What inspired you to get into acting instead of race car driving?
Well, I wanted to be a race car driver as well. But when my dad did it in the 60s, it was pretty much anybody could get into that sport, race car driving, because he started on his own before he was sponsored by Ford, and he raced those Cobras. And at the time, the Cobras were expensive in the 60s, $6,000 for the car, but really not that expensive. So you could have two or three Cobras easily. And, now if you want to buy a Cobra, a real one, they're $1 million each.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, because they're very rare and it's an amazing car. The original Cobras, not the remakes that Mustang made. Anybody could get into that sport in the 60s because if you could raise 18,000, you need two or three cars to race because your engines will blow sometimes.
Oh, wow.
So anybody can get into that industry. If you want to be a race car driver, even when I was in the 80s or 90s, you have to be either a millionaire or backed by a large sponsor. So it's way more restrictive, much harder to get into that industry now. As an actor, you could start. I grew up in New York City. You don't really need any money to start, other than having to pay for rent in New York.
Which is very pricey nowadays.
It's pricey, yeah.
So when you got started, it seemed like you hit success right away.
I did. I was very fortunate. It was it was too easy for me, so I took it for granted, and that's never a good thing. But yeah, I made a lot of money in commercials first. I mean, a lot in the 80s, late 80s. The residuals were crazy. It's not the same anymore. But yeah, I was making, like, as a 19 or 20-year-old, probably like $200,000 a year. And that's a lot of money in 1988.
Especially for someone so young.
Right.
What was that like for you, having that kind of experience right away?
It was amazing. It was like a whole it was basically a dream come true, happening so quickly. It's just like, wow, this is amazing. Unfortunately, I was plagued with a drug problem. So that tore everything down quickly. And I rebuilt it multiple times, but then it would tear it down again. Now, when I was 40 years old, I got sober for good in AA. So I have 17 years now. But the secret, unfortunately, which nobody when you're young realizes this. This is my wisdom I try to tell people. If you're younger and you have a drug problem or alcohol problem or any kind of addiction that gets in the way of your life, you can easily bounce back from it until about 35. And if you continue to fool around after 35, almost whatever industry you're in there's ageism. It's a serious discrimination. And so it's the truth about the entertainment industry. People say, oh no, you can work forever, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you can, but you get paid a lot less money. And so it's hard to sustain unless you're, a major movie star. Because I work all the time, don't make a lot of money. Comparatively speaking, in the 90s when I was a multi-millionaire. I had a house on the beach in Malibu. I mean, I had everything, house in Hawaii, an apartment in Vancouver. So, we bounce back easily when we're younger, and we're still a viable commodity in the entertainment industry. But as soon as you hit a certain age, I would say 35, you're no longer really a viable commodity. And up until 35, any agent CAA, William Morris, ICM, whatever, would sign me in a heartbeat. But 35 on, or I stopped at 40, you're kind of like past due, your expiration date.
But you're still acting. You're
I
still
am, but it's not the same. It's just, and I'm still, I'm not giving up, by the way. I'm just giving people advice. Like, if you think you can party through your 30s and and bounce back from it, think again. It's going to be much more difficult. And I'm okay with that. But I'm just saying that my advice to younger people, if you've got an addiction, try to get under control by at least 35. Stop. Drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever your addiction is, I would suggest you put an end to it.
So if you could do anything over again, what would that be? Or would you?
Well, when I first got my first length of sobriety was when I was 25. So 25 to 30, 5 years. Every single dream came true. The dream girl that I dreamed about, saw in a movie once when I was younger. I mean, just everything. The house that I got in my first house in Malibu, it was my best friend's mother's house. And she was a famous actress. She was Ali McGraw. And when I first moved to LA, he invited me. He said, hey, because I had no friends. He said, hey, you want to come to my mom's house for Thanksgiving? I said, sure. Thank you for inviting me. So I went to this house in Malibu on the beach, an amazing house. And I said to my friend, Josh, Ali's son, I said, Josh, if I could ever have a house like this, my life would be complete. I would never ask for anything else. And years later, when I became engaged to the girl, I said the same thing I saw in a movie. I said, wow, that girl would never date me. She's so beautiful. I would never be in her class of people. She would never look at me. Well, I met her on a movie and we got together. Her and I went to look at houses to rent, not to buy, but houses to rent in Malibu. Because I had a little house in Malibu when I started. And when we got together, we went, the real estate agent took us to Ali McGraw's house. It was for rent. And I walked in, I said, I know this place. And the real estate agent said, no, that's not possible. It's Ali McGraw. You've never seen this place. I said, no, my best friend's mother is Ali McGraw. I spent Thanksgiving here. She said, oh, wow. I said, right there, I don't care what the money is, we're taking it. And we did. Wow. So if I was to do anything over the 25 to 30 sober in AA, I would not have left AA at 30. Because every great thing was happening to me. And what happened was I thought, well, all these great things are happening. Now I could go back to drugs. So just add drugs to it because make it better, make everything better. Well, it doesn't. So I guess I would have stayed in the program. That would be my advice to myself and to anybody else.
But look at how much you've learned from it, though, how much you've grown as a person and how much wisdom you've gained, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And you're able to inspire people because of your experiences?
Yes. Yeah.
So you teach? What is that like for you?
I do seminars. I don't really have a class yet because I just haven't had the time. So like once every couple of months, I do a seminar, and it's based on my multiple teachers, but the two that really impacted me. One guy from New York and a lady from Los Angeles. They both passed on, but they're incredible teachers and they taught me some amazing stuff. So I just pass that on and share it with, it's kind of the AA's philosophy. We pass it on, whatever knowledge, wisdom, and experience we have, we pass it on. And so I do that, and it makes a huge difference in these young actors' lives. I watch them like, wow, this stuff really works. So it's fun. I do it. It's like an 8-hour seminar. I don't like doing the classes because I can't do much in 2 or 3 hours. So I need to do the whole day, and people love it. And I watch them, and they see each other making gigantic progress in hours. They've become very good actors. I could take a novice actor and make him great within 8 hours.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if say someone wanted to take one of your workshops, how would they find you for something?
Well, they can contact me on Instagram. It's just if you just type in my name, William McNamara, I'm usually the first that comes up. They can find me on Facebook, and I have a Facebook page which is for my TV series, The Trouble with Billy.
Right.
And that is just the facebook.com, The Trouble with Billy / The Trouble with Billy. And I usually announce when I have the seminars on that page.
Now, what's so great is you're still working on Trouble with Billy right now, right? It's in the works for being a series, correct?
Yeah, what happened is I originally started like 7, 8 years ago, a long time ago. And it was self-funded. And so it was a slow process. And every time I got a movie or TV show, I had to stop working on the Trouble. You know, like, for example, I just got back from Santa Fe doing a Western, and I'm 3 weeks away. So when I'm on location working, I have to drop everything else in my life. So it was a bit of a struggle completing the Trouble because I had to keep working to finance it, working as an actor. Mm-hmm. And so there was a lot of starting, stopping. So I had to do it in pieces. And it was originally meant as a series. And I got 4 episodes done and pretty much ran out of money. So I thought, you know what? I better cut my losses, make it a movie. I shot an ending and edited it into a movie. And then I was about to sell it. I hired a phenomenal consultant who happened to be at the Ethos Film Festival last week in Jerome Kershaw. He is a master of independent distribution and independent marketing. He is a true master. And now he's just started his own distribution company. That is the guy I recommend because he's honest, he's not greedy, and he really knows his stuff more than anybody. So I hired him. He was at a test screening. He happened to be at a test screening in Las Vegas of the movie. And he was doing a seminar in Las Vegas. So he came to my movie. And I had met him years before at Shane Black's house. So I knew who he was. I was like, oh, this is Jerome Kershaw. Wow, I can't believe he's at my movie. So it was just a coincidence. And so we talked afterwards. He asked me what I was going to do with the movie. I said, I'm going to distribute it myself on Bitmax. So a lot of people don't know, here's an inside scoop, that Bitmax, I think it's bitmax.com or bitmax.net. I can't remember, but if you Google Bitmax, they are the aggregator that all the big distributors use, like Lionsgate. So you can actually self-distribute your movie or your TV show through Bitmax, and they have access to all. They could put it on everything. Wow. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, everything, because they do it for all the big companies. So, and they charge like $1,000 per platform, but they can get it on there. And then the money comes directly to you. There's no middleman. There's no distributor. Now you still have to do the marketing. That's where Jerome Kershaw comes in. And so I was going to just do it through Bitmax. And he said, I think that's a mistake, Billy. I think you could do better. I think Bitmax is a great idea. And I learned about Bitmax through he teaches a course that's on DVD. He said, that should be plan B. I think plan A, you should try to get a major distributor because I think this is good enough. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, and I hired him as my consultant. And so he said, well, what we need to do is we need to do a trailer, a professional trailer, and a poster. And I have the guys that do it. And I said, oh, I don't want to spend any more money because the trailer was expensive. And I said, I have a trailer. It's a good trailer. He said, your trailer's okay. It's not good enough. So I kind of like, I went over that in my mind, just thinking, I hate spending more money on this. But I did it. I thought this guy knows what he's doing. And I did this great trailer. And so he started, and a great poster. So he started shopping it. I think we got 2 or 3 offers right off the bat that he found, good companies. But at the same time, the trailer was circulating to people because I posted on Facebook, I believe, and I sent it out to a few. So I got a phone call from a production company in New York. And they said, oh, we saw your trailer. It's fantastic. I said, oh, thank you. And they said, can you send us the movie? So I did. And about a week later, and I didn't think about it, though. I didn't care because because actually Jerome was getting me some offers like Gravitas, these really good companies. So I thought, oh, we're gonna have a good deal here. And so they called me back and they said, hey, we watched your movie and we think your movie would make a better series. And I'm like, whoa, wow, really? And they're like, yeah, we think that your movie could be edited, and we'll do it, into the first 4 episodes. That's what it is. I didn't tell anybody that because we're trying to sell as a movie. And so they said, and we would give you money so you could go out and write, direct, and shoot 6 more episodes. So we have 10 episodes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So I called Jerome. He was very disappointed, by the way, at first. Jerome tried to talk me out of it because he said, oh, I wouldn't trust him, Billy. He was just looking out for my best interest, obviously. I said, I'm sorry, Jerome, I got to take this shot. This is what I've always wanted. I've wanted this as a series, not a movie. I'm sorry. I know we've done a lot of work and you've done really great. And it's because of you talking into this trailer, this whole thing happened. I said, but I'm doing it as a series because they weren't going to pay me very much money up front, and the budget they gave me wasn't a whole lot. So I couldn't really pay myself very much. I paid myself a little, but it was more of me taking the risk, another risk. But yeah, but we have 10 episodes now and they're really good. And so, and they have output deals with, big companies like Stars and places like that. So it was turned out to, another dream come true.
So you wrote, directed, and performed in?
Yes. Yep.
Triple threat. I love it.
Yep.
So do you want to share a little bit about what it's about?
It's basically, it's a sort of a darkish comedy with a lot of heart. And the show starts out with my character based on a real character. And I don't know, I forgot to send you the trailer, I think. The trailer explains the whole thing. But it shows Billy from the 90s, all the big movies he was in, real fast clips. Okay. And with Jodie Foster, Sigourney Weaver, all these people. And then we open up to, we have a little animation cartoon that kind of shows Billy being abducted by aliens. And then Billy is living on the couch at his niece's house, and she's a huge YouTube star. And the girl that played her is a huge Instagram star, Lindsay Pelis. So, he has his meetings at her house, his AAA meetings, not AA, but AAA, which is Alien Abductees Anonymous meetings.
I love it.
Everybody's been abducted by aliens, which is a real group, actually. So she freaks out, kicks him out. So he's living in his car with his dog. And the dog has a heart attack, takes the dog to the hospital, and the dog has very little time left to live. And Billy has no money, he lives in his car. So that's the opening of the show, Billy living in his car with his dog who's dying. So Billy's got to do whatever it takes to get the money. There's a doctor that does a heart transplant for dogs. So Billy's got to get the transplant. It's very expensive. So that's the premise of the first 4 episodes. And Billy does, he tries all these cockamamie ideas, which all fail, but by accident, he does raise the money by accident. So he gets to do the surgery. So everything that he does with his own self-will falls apart, and everything is, it's also, he has a very toxic ex-girlfriend who's always trying to help him, but all her ideas are completely off the wall stupid, but Billy falls for it. So anyway, that's basically it.
Does it take place in Los Angeles?
It does.
That sounds like fun. Sounds great.
It's a lot of fun. And my dog, the love of my life, she stars in the show. So it's great. It's like a dream come true. It's like, because I always want to take my dog to set with me. Sometimes, oh, you can't have a dog on set. But this dog, not only is on set, she's acting in it. She's very good. She gets the most compliments. She's a very good actress, the dog.
So when do you hope to have it released? Or
well, we just finished the 6 episodes. We've just done the rough edits of all of them, and we only have temp music. So the next thing is a refining edit, color correction, and music score and sound. So we still have a ways to go, but they are already shopping it. And what we're doing, we went back to the guy that did the original great trailer. We gave him all 10 episodes now and said, we want you to do not necessarily a trailer, but a presentation between 4 and 6 minutes long of all 10 episodes.
Nice.
As a sales tool. So he's been working on that for about a week now.
Okay. That sounds very exciting. I don't think people realize how much time and effort goes into making a movie or a series.
It's unbelievable. It's yeah, I don't think people realize, yeah, it's unbelievable, actually. See, it almost seems like, oh gosh, I mean, it almost seems I'm doing it for nothing because I'm just getting older and older. And by the time it hits, I might be dead.
No, you're still going to be doing it. And what a great opportunity for you to do that. So
Right.
at what point did you turn into filmmaker as well as actor?
Well, like 7, 8 years ago when I got started on this.
Okay. So this is what inspired you to do it.
Yes. Nobody else would do it for me. And the other problem is with my career, with my agent and manager, they never saw me as a comedic actor. So I'd ask them to send me on comedies. They said, Billy, you're not funny. You're a dramatic actor. You're a very good dramatic actor. And so I kept wanting to go on comedies, but nobody will give me a shot. So I had to create my own opportunity and do it myself. And I'm very funny in the show. And now people think I'm funny, but sometimes you don't get that opportunity, unless you have a lot of power. Like Jim Carrey was a comedian, but he wanted to be a dramatic actor, and he got resistance, so he kind of had to create his own opportunities.
Well, it seems like that's what you have to do nowadays, especially in anything really. You have to make your own path to get started.
Yes, that's right.
You had the courage to do it. So many people talk about it, but don't do it. So what was that final straw that you just knew you had to do it?
Well, I started doing little vignettes with my other pit bull who did die. I started doing little vignettes and posting on Facebook, just these little 6 or 7 minute vignettes, just funny things with the dog. And people responded well to it. So that's when and I had a few friends tell me, dude, you have to pursue this. It's really funny. And a huge company, a management production company called New Wave Entertainment. They're still around today. They're big in Burbank. They contacted me. They saw some of the vignettes. I said, we're really interested in your writing. So they wanted to option my writing. But in the agreement, it said that we're not guaranteeing that we're going to produce your stuff for you, but we would have access to it for our clients, because they represent a lot of comedians and they produce a lot of comedic television. So I thought to myself, that's weird. So that means that they would buy this, but they wouldn't necessarily let me. They're not going to produce Billy McNamara doing it. They would have access to it for their clients. So I didn't sign the agreement. And then I just did it myself. I said, no, I'm going to do it myself.
Good job. Well, you stood your ground.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And so when your series is a big hit, they're going to be coming around and say, hey, Billy, we want you back. And you're like, yeah, I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah,
we'll see.
You have a season 2 in mind?
Do I have what?
You have a season 2 in mind?
Oh, yes. And I have to, one of the issues right now is, and I'm behind because I also got hired to write a script that I'm also behind on. I'm supposed to have it done by Monday, and I'm only on page 61. Okay. So it's very hard, actually, to get hired, and you're given a template. This is what we want. This is the story you want. Write the script. So it's not an organic inspiration of something that I'm writing. So it's more difficult. But yes, one of the requirements that we have to do is a Bible/lookbook for The Trouble with Billy. I don't know if you know what that is. You do?
You want to share that?
A Bible is basically and oddly enough, I have to do season 1 in the Bible, like synopsises of all the episodes we already shot. Because 9 times out of 10, the distributor or the buyer won't watch all 10 episodes. They'll watch 1 or 2 episodes. They'll watch the trailer, 1 or 2 episodes, but they want to see the synopsis of all the other episodes that you've already shot. Even though you shot them, they're not going to watch them. So you put together your season 1, the episodes, the ones that I've already shot, and you have to put at least season 2. So they have to know, is this a one-note joke, or does this have an arc? Is this going somewhere? Does it have a life? In other words, it doesn't end after episode 10. So you have to show them season 2, episode 1, episode 2, all 10 episodes for season 2. And if you want to do a really good job, you should provide season 3. Fortunately, I don't have to. I only have to do season 1, the synopsises, and season 2. And then the lookbook is basically we'll take stills, freeze frames from the series. So, and it'll have all the characters: Billy Baldwin, Angus McFadden, Lindsay Pelis. So you have little pictures of your cast, and then you have little, freeze frames of some of the action in the first 10 episodes. That's the lookbook part. So it's a combination, lookbook Bible.
Good. And,
yeah.
Well, I think that's wonderful that you're doing it, and you're working with some talented people, which is very exciting.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, I'm really noticing, I don't know if it's because there's so many more platforms, but it's great to see older actors doing quality work.
Yes.
I get excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can go well into 5, 6, 7 seasons. Easy.
I hope so. That'd be great.
Well, yeah. It seems like you're manifesting all this stuff for yourself. So you're doing it. It's like you're just in that flow of creation.
Right. And, like I was saying in the late 80s, early 90s, I was manifesting stuff, or part of the manifestation. I wasn't doing it. God was doing it, but I was part of a manifestation. And it happened very quickly, very easily. And there was a lot of financial reward. So I'm still manifesting, but it takes much, much longer. And the financial reward trickles in. It's a little bit different, right. But still doing it. You're right.
And that's the key. You're still doing it.
Yeah.
And what is time really?
Right.
And so, I mean, and there's so many people too from the 80s and 90s who aren't doing anything, or who have really shifted out of the business. And for you to still stay in it really shows the passion you have for this art, because it really is.
Yeah.
So say you do the series, what else would you love to do?
Well, I have a second series that they came to and said, "Do you have any other ideas?" I said, "I do." And so they're going to give me the money to shoot a trailer for it.
Oh, excellent.
As soon as I get done with they said, as soon as you get done with the lookbook Bible, we'll let you shoot the trailer, not of your new series, which is based on a real person. I have his life rights, and it's much more universal show. Because comedies about Hollywood are not there. It's a limited distribution. You have limited places that you can go, and a lot of the comedies don't translate well in foreign sales. I think mine will, but typically, historically, they don't. My new show is an action show about a very famous martial artist. So it's kind of like Cobra Kai on crystal meth and steroids.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Now, will you be in it also?
Not really. I might have a cameo in it, but I was going to try to focus on just being the writer, director of it, creator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but you're still putting yourself, I mean, all your energy is going into it. So that's.
Oh, yes.
So what do you think about directing yourself?
It's pretty difficult. It's actually difficult. In fact, on the latter 6 episodes, I had to bring in a co-director. He was a friend of mine that's directed me in 6 or 7 movies, and he's been involved on the periphery of the trouble for a long time. So he kind of knew the story. And so, and that was helpful. It was very helpful. So when you're in every single scene, it's very hard to do it yourself.
Sure. That's true, but you're still doing it.
Yep.
All right. So I have to ask, since you've been in this business, for so long, you've really seen so many changes happen. What advice would you give to someone just starting out into the business now?
The advice I give, again, goes back to, if you have any sort of addictions, deal with them quickly, whatever that means, whatever that remedy is. I'm not saying AA is the only way. There's a lot of other ways. But it's kind of like trying to be an Olympic athlete. I tell people if they want to be actors and successful, don't read about Marlon Brando or Peter O'Toole or any of these actor autobiographies or biographies. I tell them, go study what an Olympic athlete does, how they qualify to get on the team, and how they win a medal. So being a successful actor in LA, in New York, it's not only getting on an Olympic team, which is 1 in a million shot, or maybe 1 in 100 million that you're going to make, you're going to be that good of an athlete, but you actually have to medal. So see what an athlete does, the ones that medal, see what they do. And I'll tell you what they do. They dedicate their entire lives. Before they try to qualify, they spend 2 to 3 years training every single day, 8 to 10 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week. It's very competitive to be a gymnast and win a silver or gold. It's amazing. So when you study these people, you'll see how dedicated they have to be. It's the same thing if you want to be a successful actor. My first live-in girlfriend in New York City, she was a ballerina for New York City Ballet. So New York City Ballet is one of the greatest ballets in the world. There's Moscow, it's New York. They're the two best in the world. She never was a principal. She was always in the corps, but just getting on the corps of New York City Ballet is like winning 6 Academy Awards. It's impossible. Very small amount of people get to be in the corps. Principal, there's only 1 or 2. Corps is like 12. So just getting on the corps in New York City Ballet it's unreal. That is a major accomplishment. People might not understand. Oh, it's an extra in ballet. Try getting on the corps of New York City Ballet. Just try. So, and she, tiny little girl, skinny little girl, 0 body fat, but she had legs like Herschel Walker. Her legs were gigantic, and she was on point, tiptoes, every single day. No day, they have no days off. There's no Sunday off. There's no Saturday off. 8 hours every day, ballet. That's her whole life. There's nothing else but that. Nothing. 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day of the year, except for Christmas and Thanksgiving. But every other day they're practicing.
Well, ballet dancer is a very limited window, though, because that is very youth-based.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I'm just saying there's a dedication that it takes. It's no different for actors. And a lot of actors, and myself included, we become lazy, or we just think we wait for stuff to happen for us. And we wait for the agent or manager. But if you're waiting, you better be training in some fashion, whatever it is that's going to make your instrument better, whatever it is, you should be training every single day.
So would you say that comes with a lot of sacrifice?
It does.
What would you say has been your biggest sacrifice to be an actor?
Well, it's very hard to have a relationship with a girl, just because it's just very difficult. And the thing about traveling, I really don't like traveling. In fact, I would like to transition to being just a writer and get out of acting, because I don't like traveling anymore, because it's very disruptive. I went to Santa Fe. I drove there because I wanted to take my dog with me, so I had to drive to Santa Fe from LA. I do that a lot, So it's very disruptive going on location. I just don't like it. And it's disruptive to my life.
Right. Well, as a writer, you could write anywhere, right? So, and you sounds like you have a lot of stories in you too, right?
Right. That's right. So yeah, that's the big sacrifice. But a lot of people, when I was younger, as an actor, traveling to Europe and places like that, it was fantastic. Morocco, all these places I went to as an actor, it was amazing. So I'm not saying if you're a young actor, the traveling is a lot of fun and it's great. But as we get older, I'm more of a homebody.
You've been there, done that,
Right.
Now your path is taking a different direction, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Kind of exciting pathway, which
right.
is really great. Well, you're just doing so much. Okay. And I have to say, you're vegan. And I got so excited because I'm vegan. Are you still vegan? I saw that listed.
I do now eat some eggs and fish once or twice a week. So I had an issue, a minor heart issue.
Okay.
And I went to a bunch of doctors, and I found a doctor who's more holistically inclined, still a cardiologist, a very well-known, well-respected cardiologist. And he told me that one of the issues that people don't talk about enough, because it's just not in the mainstream medical dialogue right now, is that carbohydrates are raising your insulin levels. And he's saying that now sugar and carbs, the new science is showing it contributes to heart disease more than cholesterol.
Oh, wow.
And he's saying that you're going to find in the next 5 to 10 years that almost all disease starts with sugar and carbs. Most carbs turn into sugar, pasta, grains, all that stuff. So not carbs like Brussels sprouts and broccoli. Those are complex carbs. Those are a lot of fiber in them. So it doesn't break down very fast or very easily into sugar. But all the other carbs that we eat, especially me as a vegan, is causing my blood sugar to spike. And it's having a negative effect on the heart. So he said, you're going to need to try to take some animal products, because animal products have zero carbs. So eggs, I get the expensive eggs at Erewhon that are like out, and you watch the video or watch the cams, and they're running around free. And they're giving eggs. And then, the only bad thing is that I eat salmon sometimes once a week.
That's not bad. I mean,
right.
All right. So you're mostly plant-based.
Yes. Yeah. And have been for 21 years.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's so interesting. I think trying it to be on the pathway is really a good chance for your body to kind of like detox.
Yes. That's right.
Everything in balance, right?
That's right.
Okay, that's very cool. Well, it sounds like great things are happening for you, Billy, and I'm very excited for you. And I can't wait to see your series, and I would love to see multiple series come of it, and work on your second project. So it's great. I'm very excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so all right, one more question, and you had a chance to really get to know the two Corys, right? Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, right?
Yes.
And I know a lot of stuff, and if you don't want to talk about this, I'll edit it out, but I kind of have to ask, especially so much with Harvey Weinstein that's still in the news right now. And I know Corey Haim passed on, and Corey Feldman has said a lot of stuff that has happened to both of them during that time. Is that something that you feel people were aware of that was happening, or
well, not really with them. They never mentioned that when we were working together or friendly. So they never really talked about that. And what I noticed about Corey Feldman, he's a great guy. He's also vegan. I think he's still vegan. The problem with his documentary, whatever, it really didn't talk about his own personal experiences. He named a few people, but he didn't really go into anything that happened to him. And instead he used the Corey Haim stories about what happened to Corey Haim, which I'm not sure if I believe. And the way I would believe it is if Corey Haim himself told me these things.
I see.
So if Corey Feldman shared personal experience that he personally had with, say, Charlie Sheen or whoever the people they've accused, that would be different. It would have a lot more impact and weight. But I don't think it's fair to use Corey Haim, because he's not alive, to verify it. And it's not right. It's not fair in my opinion. And I can't 100% believe it. I want to hear it from the person's mouth that had the experience. I believe all the girls with Bill Cosby. I believe all the girls with Harvey Weinstein, because they're alive and they're telling their stories, and they all sound very similar. So it's like, yep, I believe them. Hate to say it, but sounds like they're monsters. And by the way, the Harvey Weinstein thing, I did not know about Bill Cosby, by the way, ever, never heard anything. But when you are in LA and New York as an actor, even a low level actor like me, we all kind of heard these stories for years about Harvey Weinstein. That was no secret. So all these people now that are condemning him or whatever they're doing, they all knew about it the whole time, and they were doing his movies. They were hanging out with him. They were accepting donations from him. They were doing all these things, knowing. If I knew, trust me, they knew. I mean, there's no way around it. The stories of Harvey Weinstein have been for at least 20 years I've known about it. So for people all of a sudden to be outraged now, they knew about it back then and they were hanging out with him. It was okay when he was a powerful movie mogul. But as his power waned and his Miramax kind of became not doing great movies anymore, then they all came out and said, yeah, he's bad. Yes, he's bad. He's done this to, I think, probably hundreds of girls.
And
oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, it seems like it's always been kind of part of the industry. People,
right.
And you just have to figure out how you're going to stand your ground.
Right. And a lot of, I'm not going to name any networks because you could do your own research. I think there's a bunch of Vanity Fair articles and I can't remember what else. There's a few articles. So I'm not going to name names or name networks or studios, but if you read the articles, I didn't write them. They're very well researched. They say that these networks and studios knew about certain people. They knew everything. And instead of firing these people, what they would do is they would try to cover it up, and they would hire law firms to help them pay off the victims. But they knew what was going on. But these people were important executives. And so for years, the networks and studios, instead of doing anything to reprimand these people, they actually did everything they could to help cover it up and pay people off. And the only time they hired law firms to investigate is if they thought a lawsuit was coming, not because they want to help the girl out who was sexually assaulted. They don't care.
It's so similar to the churches. They're in bankruptcy.
That's right.
No, but do you think nowadays people are becoming more vocal about it?
Yeah.
To change Hollywood? Do you think that's
yep. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I definitely do. Yep. I think there's going to be some real change now. Hopefully it'll, it's out in the open. So yes.
I think what I think is so great too is people have an opportunity to really create their own content through social media, through all these various platforms, through streaming. And as an actor, I think that's really exciting. And as a writer,
yeah,
money you get paid for is a different story. But
that's right. That's right. Yeah. So it's really, it's opened up for everybody. If people don't take advantage of how easy it is to get in, on a platform, whatever platform, it's their own fault. You really have a lot more control over your career. You got to just do it yourself, which is good and bad.
Well, you never know where it's going to lead you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just that leap of faith.
That's right.
Proud of you, Billy. You are an inspiration.
Thank you.
I'm grateful to have you on my show. Thank you so much. So I will go ahead and share your trailer. Is that okay when I post it?
Yeah. Do you have the trailer yet?
You said you were going to send it to me, but it's on your Facebook page too, right? For The Trouble with Billy?
Yeah, but there's multiple trailers on there. Let me just see.
Are you still working with Jerome right now?
Well, no, we're just good friends. But unfortunately, I don't need Jerome's services anymore. So yeah, not.
But you would recommend him for filmmakers?
Oh my God, he's fantastic. Are you kidding? He just, he's amazing. And, he when he was my consultant, he doesn't charge very much money. Right. So, but now it's even better because he is he's a distributor. He bought a distribution company. So he's a distributor. So he is the guy you want to go to because he's just super honest and he knows everything about distribution.
So for young filmmakers out there, or independent filmmakers out there, if they have a project that they're looking for distribution, you recommend?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. He is excellent, and he knows everybody. He's been doing it for 20 years as a consultant, so he knows everybody in the business. Yeah, I do think he's great with marketing. So the thing is getting a movie on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon. That's half the battle. The other half is getting it seen. And so you have to, and if you can't afford millions of dollars, which is what most studios, networks, and platforms have for their own original content, you will not be seen. So, the thing that really sets Jerome apart is he really knows how to do guerrilla marketing. So for not a whole lot of money, he can get your project seen and marketed well.
Wow. And would that be for a series and film, or mostly just all film?
Yeah, I think he's really focusing on film right now. But I think eventually he will do series.
Nice to hear. I'm sure he'd be really happy to hear that too. So.
Oh, yeah.
I know just a lot of my viewers are independent filmmakers.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Well, I just sent you the trailer. It's got a password protected on Vimeo.
Oh, is it okay to share that?
Yes. It's been sold, so it's no longer not protecting anymore. Just kept it up with the password.
Okay. And I'm so glad we had a chance to do this.